people everywhere. Which ones are you going to work with? It's been one of the recurring themes so far, since at least the introduction video, that if you're really looking for a way to stand head and shoulders above everyone else in your field, the best way is to find a problem and find a way to solve it. So, what problems are you going to solve? I've divided up the class into 5 groups, each one with a specific focus. And we're going to go over some of the issues in each of these focuses, and I'm going to give you the groups in the rest of this video. Let's look at the specific groups now. The first group would be technology. We use technology an awful lot. We're on social media a lot. We stream music. We're selling stuff online. We're buying stuff online. We're asking questions. We use the internet as our general base of knowledge. And every one of you would feel very weird if you were without your phone for a certain amount of time. I know I do. And my daughter would start freaking out, yelling around, and her head would start spinning. However, for a country which is so dependent on technology, and specifically digital technology like the internet, we don't have particularly good access to it across the board. Look at the middle column, access to digital tools by community type. Home access is rather low. School access is better, but the real kicker is when we get to access to digital tools by socioeconomic status. Upper middle class people are the only ones who are most likely to have full access to digital technology in their home. And their schools will have better access to technology. So, not only do we depend on technology, we don't have particularly great access to it. Plus, it's not exactly the safest thing in the world. Tons of people are victims of cybercrime, including scam emails and identity theft. Most Americans think that cybercriminals will not be brought to justice, and almost everyone expects it will be victims of cybercrime. Yet still, we don't take enough real precautions of it. I bet the amount of you who don't use DSNs or password managers is pretty darn high. So, the technology group gets to think about these and a whole lot of other challenges in technology. This group consists of Now let's talk about everyone's most favorite joyous topic, the state of the environment. There is some skepticism amongst some people that global warming does not exist. Well, this is what NASA says. This is of 2016. And you can see the charted for the last 1880 to 2016 average temperature deviation. It seems to be a very steadily climbing number. And this has lots of causes and it has lots of effects. Let's talk about 2 related issues. Air pollution. Air pollution is quite heavy and quite dangerous. Each year, around 7 million deaths are due to exposure from air pollution. And it seems to be unequally distributed. America's better than Asia. Western Pacific region and the Southeast Asia region are the absolute worst. If you remember any of the scenes from when we had the Olympics in China, you probably remember seeing fairly dark black skies. This stuff can lead to stroke, heart disease, lung cancer, any number of other diseases. Then we have my favorite example of what the hell? The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The patch is 3 times more than Spain and Portugal combined. in size. It's to a depth of 10 meters, but not all of it floats. About that much of it also sinks to the bottom of the ground. They've found microplastics at the bottom of the Mariana Trench at this point. There is a lot of garbage floating there. If you ever want to see a picture of it online, do a search. It's quite wild. Is this having some effect on wildlife? On marine animals? Haha, oh, you bet. These are just some of the issues. We haven't even talked about rising sea levels and mass fires and big storms and such. Environment has a lot of issues, and there are a lot of things that this group can work on to solve. And this group consists of the status of education in America. We're all in college, so we have a certain amount of investment in this. But is education equal across the board? Well, graduation rates by race show a fairly consistent pattern. If you're white or Asian, you have a much better chance of graduating than if you are Hispanic or African American. This is from 2007 to 2012, but I can guarantee you take the numbers from 2013 to the present, you're going to see the same trend happen. It's pretty uniform. Now, we don't give access to everyone, but at least the people who get education get a great education, right? Well, in 2015, the PISA results, which is an international ranking of educational systems, had the U.S. in science rated at 18th in the world. In reading, 15th. In math, we are 35th. So how good of an education are people getting? And while you're there can be problems. When I went to look at school violence, I mostly saw stuff about school shooting, but these are the big obvious things that pop up. There are many more amounts of violence. 280,000 students are physically attacked in secondary schools each month. 160,000 students miss school each day for fear of being bullied. 77% of students are bullied mentally, verbally, physically, cyberbullying, so on and so forth. This goes to quite a real point of making school a not safe environment for people to go to. If you were to look at the actual criminal statistics and the amount of people who get seriously hurt and die at school, you'd see that this is going to be contributing to a place, to an atmosphere where it's very, very hard to give your best to learn. We haven't even talked about test scores or any of that, or the student debt you're going to get into if you go into higher education or any of that. There are lots of issues in education. This is the group that gets to tackle some of them. So those are the groups. When I go over the problems, those are the bigger problems that I see, or at least the ones I see when I put together the video. If you want to focus on one of them for your specific projects, great. If you want to focus on something that I didn't mention but still a problem in your field, that's perfectly fine with me. Now would be a good time to go back to the major assignment sheet and read over everything so you can get an idea of how this theme is going to fit into the rest of your work.